That's okay.
All right. Good afternoon and welcome to the IT certification information session. My name is Samantha Brill. I am the program manager for all of IT along with fiber optics and basically all things data center related. So it is my responsibility to put together these classes, talk with employers, align curriculum to make sure that students are taking these classes, getting all of the information they need to be successful day one on the job. So over the next hour, we are going to talk about all of the possible IT pathways that we have here at Laurel Ridge. So these are our 6 main pathways, and each pathway is meant to build on one another, or in other words, be stackable. I will be very honest with you. You probably, if you take one of these entry-level certifications, you'll start off at an entry-level job. And so the idea is that you build, you continuously take a certain number of certification courses to better prepare yourself for the job that you might be interested in. And so if you are someone who has never been in the IT field before, your first step is going to be a computer user support specialist. And we're going to talk through each one of these pathways very specifically and the requirements for each. But I did want to provide this chart, if you will, so you can see everything that we offer in one slide. So as I mentioned, the first step, if you are new to IT, is going to be the computer user support specialist. These are the people who might also be known as help desk technicians. These are the folks who, let's say you are in the office one day and your printer stops working. Well, you're going to call your help desk to be able to come by or troubleshoot the reason why your printer is no longer working, and they will get you back up and running so that you can complete those day-to-day responsibilities. Under computer user support specialists, the certifications are the CompTIA A+ and the CompTIA Network Plus certification prep courses. Each one of these courses are 2 nights a week, 8 hours total, and they are in person. You can plan to spend between 5 and 8 hours of additional study time per week. For each one of these courses, in any one of our CompTIA courses, you are going to get a wide array of various materials. You will get access to the CompTIA Learn portal. You'll get access to labs, and then you're just going to get a lot of additional study materials just to make sure that you are successful. So outside of your class time, you can expect to need to put in 5 to 8 hours of study time to make sure you are prepared. Each one of our courses, they are very fast paced. You can expect to cover a lot of material in a short amount of time. So it's very important that you do put in those extra study hours so you can make the best of your time with us and more importantly, pass that credential at the end of the course. We are going to get into what that FF or fast forward means, as well as our Fantic and G3 funding opportunities a little bit later in this presentation. But I wanted you to have the understanding that these courses are fast forward, Fantic and G3 approved. So there is some funding available to help you take these courses. As a computer user support specialist, you can expect on average to have a median salary of about $55,000. Now, if you decide that a computer user support specialist is great, but you want to take that next level of your career and kind of move up the chain with a more advanced job, Then the next step is gonna be a network and computer systems administrator. And what this is what we are tacking on the CompTIA Security Plus certification. So these network and computer systems administrators are responsible for the day-to-day operation of the network. So when you think of your organization, the Wi-Fi that you have on your job or at your job, or the computer systems that you use, those data communication systems, that is what a network and computer system administrator does. They're responsible for making sure that Wi-Fi works and the network is running properly day to day. So as I mentioned, once you complete CompTIA A Plus and CompTIA Network Plus, the next step is going to be CompTIA Security Plus. Security Plus is actually a Department of Defense requirement. So if you are someone who is very interested in working with the government, you have to have a minimum of a CompTIA security certification to be able to work for the government. Similar to the computer user support specialist, 2 nights a week, 8 hours total. The CompTIA Security Plus class is online. So this is where you're going to start getting a hybrid of classes where some are in person and some are online. And then you can still expect to put in 5 to 8 hours of additional study time per week to prepare for your certification exam. And again, I mapped out the cost, fast forward prices, Fantech G3 for each of those courses. And then because you are taking a next step up, you can expect that median salary to be just over $94,000. If you find that you still want to move forward and progress into more of a cybersecurity role, the next stair step on our pathway is the information security analyst. This is where you are really getting into that cybersecurity. You're making sure that the firewalls are working properly, that nobody can hack into your system, nobody's hacking anywhere else. Just making sure all of your networks and systems are safe. The certifications under this bundle are CompTIA Security Plus, CompTIA CISA, or CYSA, or CompTIA CASP or CASP, just all in how you prefer to call it. 2 nights a week, 8 hours total. All 3 of these certifications are online. Additional 5 to 8 hours of study time per week. And then again, your median salary is going to jump up into 6 figures. I do want to pause just for a quick moment to kind of just make sure there are not any questions at this point.
I don't have any questions. I think it's going great.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Chris. All right, so the next step in a pathway is maybe you decide that you want to take more of a administrative role, project manager. You want to tap into more administration of IT, or you might decide that you want to open your own IT business. This pathway is IT project manager, and these folks are more so in charge of planning, coordinating organizational activities, and they help determine the organizational goals to make sure that everything is getting met monthly, yearly, and that every project that comes through that organization has met the deadline, stayed on budget, and then overseeing all of those responsibilities. So the certifications under this pathway include the CompTIA A Plus, CompTIA Project Plus, ITIL, and then we have the optional project management PMP. The reason why the PMP is optional, if you are not familiar with it, it is a very, very hard certification, and it does require a very large number of on-the-job experience hours. And you may not have that. But once you go through A+ project and ITIL, and then you secure a job as a project manager, those hours can then correlate to build up, and then you could eventually choose to take that PMP certification, if that's an interest of yours. Same thing as all of our other pathways, 2 nights a week, 8 hours total, in person or online, 5 to 8 hours of study time per week. And then that median salary is gonna be about 108,000. I will tell you, ITIL is probably one of the most in-demand certifications out there right now. Employers are begging, for folks to have that ITIL certification. The next pathway and one of our newest pathways is the data center technician. It is no secret that data centers are starting to pop up all over the place, particularly in Northern Virginia. A data center technician, they're responsible for installing and maintaining servers and networking equipment inside a data center. You know, if a server and a rack break, you know, a company who has that server could potentially stand to lose billions of dollars in a matter of 10 minutes. And nobody wants that to happen because there will be some very angry people on the phone. And so these technicians are definitely responsible for making sure everything is working the way it's supposed to work. And then to be able to fix it if it's not working in a very quick manner. And so the certifications under this pathway are the A+, CompTIA Server Plus, and CompTIA Network Plus. We do have a mini mock data center at our Middletown campus, specifically for the Server Plus class. It's great hands-on opportunity. You will actually build out a full rack and connect it during your class and be able to troubleshoot it and fix anything that could potentially go wrong. So there's a lot of hands-on components under this pathway. 2 nights a week, 8 hours. All 3 of these classes are in person. 5 to 8 hours of study time a week. And then that median salary is going to be about 62,000 a year. And then our final pathway and our most newest pathway is our cloud computing specialist. You've heard the cloud. Pretty much anything you have to do these days involves the cloud. You're streaming your Netflix, your Disney, or just working on your phone. It has to do with the cloud. Employers definitely are wanting folks who are very familiar with this cloud and what it does and how to troubleshoot it and run it. So the certifications in this one are CompTIA A+, CompTIA Cloud Essentials, CompTIA Network Plus, and then CompTIA Cloud Plus. 2 nights a week, 8 hours. All 4 of these classes are in person. And then 5 to 8 hours of study time per week. And then I do not have, the median salary on here just yet. It is our newest one. We just ran our first Cloud Essentials class. But you can probably expect entry-level cloud computing specialists to be around the 70,000 mark. And then as you get more experience, obviously it will definitely increase from there. Now you're wondering, how in the world do I get started? If you are brand new to IT, maybe you're a career switcher, decide that you want to test out IT and see what it's all about. CompTIA IT Fundamentals is going to be your very first step. Now you might also see it called CompTIA Tech Plus. CompTIA is doing a name change. So right now it could be IT Fundamentals, but it might be Tech Plus if you decide to register for our upcoming January class. So it's the same class. The first step you're going to need to do is fill out this pre-assessment. It's 2 parts. The first part is just basically an understanding of You know, you have read through our handbook, you have read the policy of the college, that you understand everything and the guidelines, and that you promise to adhere to all of those rules and regulations mapped out in those handbooks. The second part is basically just a 10-question mini quiz to make sure that you have some foundational knowledge of IT to be successful. As I mentioned, these are very fast-paced classes. And you're gonna cover a lot of material. So CompTIA Fundamentals is meant to cover a little bit of computer support specialist, a little bit of networking, a little bit of security. It's going to cover a multitude of various topics. So that way you could also, while getting the basic understanding of IT, you're also dabbling in the different pathways to see what you might like the best. You must score 120 points on this pre-assessment to be able to register for the course. This course is 2 nights a week, 8 hours, it's in person. You can expect to put in about 5 hours of study time per week. It is Fast Forward Vantage G3 approved, so there is funding available, and this is going to be your first step. Like I said, if you're brand new to IT. Once you complete this course and pass your certification, then you will be eligible to go on to the next step, which would be the CompTIA A+. I am very open and honest about this particular course. Once you pass the certification, is this going to land you a job in IT? Probably not. But I do highly suggest looking into an internship. There are a lot of companies out there who are looking just for some part-time help, and it is a great resume builder. This is only going to help you get some experience, so that way when you complete those higher certifications like A+ and Network, when you go to apply for jobs, employers are going to see that, oh, you know, Johnny spent 40 hours at this IT company installing printers and setting up networks. Your resume is going to get bumped to that top of that interview potential. So I highly encourage IT internships. All right, we do have a full IT handbook, and I highly encourage you to take some time and read through this handbook. What it does is it will review all of the attendance policies, and it will cover the expectations of every one of these courses. You are expected to attend class. We fully understand that things happen, you get sick, family members get sick, and we do not want you in class if you are sick. However, you also need to be aware that you need to be in class. If you do not adhere to the attendance policy, you will not pass the class, which will result in you having to owe money back to the college. And we'll get more into that when we cover the funding of these courses. But I definitely highly suggest heading to our website and looking through that handbook. There are a multitude of community resources and links to the community resources page. Again, life happens, your car breaks down and you have no way of getting to class. You can go to that community resource page, fill out a form. You know, we could potentially assist with an Uber ride to get to and from class until your car gets fixed. That's just one example of some things that we have been able to help students with. Also in the handbook, it talks about credit for prior learning. So we do have credit for prior learning in place for CompTIA A+, CompTIA Network+, CompTIA Security+, CompTIA Linux, and CompTIA Cloud+. And what that means is if you take one of those certification classes with us and pass that certification, you can transfer that certification in for credit towards a degree program. So let's say, for example, you take the CompTIA A+ class with us. And then next year you decide, okay, I think I really want to pursue a degree. You can take that CompTIA A+ certification and transfer it in for credit for ITN 106 and ITN 107. That is 2 classes that you are already knocking off of your course load, so that way you can finish a degree in a shorter amount of time. So that is a great opportunity should you decide that you want a degree later on down the road. But again, please head to this website and read through that handbook. It has a lot of great information. I will also say that we have now integrated Canvas into all of our classes. So Canvas is a great tool for keeping you on track. It will link all of your materials in one central location, so that as you progress from week to week, you can easily click on your assignments and labs through Canvas, and that'll take you directly to your CompTIA portal. All right, funding. Unsure of where to start, you can definitely go to our funding page at our website, call our office, email. We do have live chat. And you're probably wondering, okay, you said you were going to cover off on funding. Let's talk about it. As long as you have lived in Virginia for the last year, you would qualify for a funding stream called Fast Forward. And that just means that you would only be responsible for paying 1/3 the cost of the class. So for example, if a class is $6,000, you've lived in Virginia for the last year, you would only be responsible for paying $2,000 of that $6,000. Now, we go back to attendance and passing the course. As long as you show up for the classes, you're completing your assignments and you're doing what your instructor asks you to do, and you pass that class, you are fine. If for some reason you quit showing up, you're not doing the assignments, you're just not following what you should be doing, then you will be an unsuccessful completer. And then you would be responsible for paying back a second $2,000 back to the college. So it's a great opportunity to get these courses at a cheaper rate. Now, let's say that $2,000 is still a financial burden for you. We have additional funding streams called Fantic and G3. They are income-based. So if you, there are some forms you have to fill out, and if you still show a financial need, those 2 additional funding streams would then pay the rest of that $2,000. So you could potentially get any one of our certification classes at 0 cost. Again, and you can find more information, or if you have more questions about funding, like I said, you can go to our website, you can call, you can email, live chat, and we'll be happy to take you through all of our funding options again and kind of steer you in the right direction. All right, that is all that I have. I am going to end for today.